Today, I'd like to talk about what is truth or what is one. That would be the theme, or just one. I could just call it one, but then that would be hard to get the topic from. But maybe that's the point. So today's talk is on one. Um, and I'd like to start with one of the koans, one of our stories of our relatives, our Zen ancestors. And this particular relative is Gutei Osho, and he was a teacher. Might have been a contemporary of Obaku, was another Zen ancestor from a long. He's a teacher from a long time ago in China, a long time ago. Once upon a time, in case 3 of the Gateless Gate. Whenever Gutei Osho was asked about Zen, he simply raised a finger. Once a visitor asked Gutei's young attendant, "What does your master teach?" And the boy raised a finger. Hearing of this, Gutei cut off the boy's finger with a knife. You don't have to take that literally, unless you want to. Probably it didn't happen that way, we'll say. Hearing this, he cut off the finger with a knife. The boy screamed with pain, began to run away, and Gutei called out to him. The boy turned around just instinctively, and Gutei went. And instantly, the boy was enlightened. What is this? This is the koan that many people avoid because of the unfortunate finger cutting incident. So dial back, because it's not about the finger. When Gutei was about to pass away many years later, he said to his assembled monks, "I obtained one finger Zen from Tenyu." Sorry, let's fix this. "And used it all my life, but still did not exhaust it." When he finished saying this, he entered final nirvana, which means he died. One finger Zen. He used it his whole life and still did not exhaust it. Our teachers often have a thing that they say over and over and over that becomes sort of their theme song. And this was Gutei's theme song, One Finger. What is the one finger? That's part of what I'll explore today. And we'll go a little bit further than that. Well, what was the boy's mistake? What merited such a extreme reaction from the boy also practicing the one finger Zen? So lots to talk about. It's very exciting. So we don't know a lot about Gutei Osho. He was really fond of chanting a certain Dharani that sounded like his name, so that's how he got the name. It was kind of a nickname. So that's what we know. We don't know his date of birth and death, but sometime a long, long time ago in ancient China. So that's what we'll say. For those of you who've heard me speak about my teacher quite a lot, what would you say are some of my teacher's themes? Here's one. Okay, Dan.
I can't think off the spot.
We have a lot of not on the spot people. Yes. Boom, cut the finger. No, there's no knives up here. Yes. Anyone online? What are some of my teachers? You've heard the same things over and over. So Dan and Natasha, I know, and Missy, I know you've heard them. So pipe up. And if I can't hear you, I'll let you know.
I think he's very genuinely curious about each person's expression of Dharma or Buddha nature. My experience with him is he really wants to hear that and understand it and what do you call it? Support it or
Uh-huh.
help it to flourish. I feel that's so genuine in him.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you some hints. What about this? What does he say about? Thank you. We can't. Why do we gasho? Why do we bow to others? Because we can't bow to ourselves. And then he always makes us try it. So go ahead and try it now. Try to gasho to yourself. What else? I was just talking about one this morning. His favorite Zen joke. You can say it in English though.
Yeah, you were going back and forth between
By chance, by design, by chance, by design, by chance, by design. And he does this gesture. He makes a joke of it. So that's another one. So he has these themes, and everybody has this. It's very natural. I'm sure you can probably tell me mine too, but I'm not asking that today. So everybody has these teachings that really we circle in on, and they're often the things that for us in our training really made such an impact. That's what stuck with us. So it's very similar to your gimon, your essential question. So for Gutei, it was one, one, one. What is one? This is the first part of this. Koan is the essence of Gutei Osho's teaching, one. So this koan has a number of parts, as they all do. And when you're working with a koan, you need to be able to be it, to embody it from every angle possible until you really know it fully, as if it were your own life, which it is. So another part is the boy and the boy's answer. And then the next part is the inheritance of the teachings. This is the teaching that Gutei Osho inherited from his teacher Tenyu. And still, though he practiced with it his entire life, did not exhaust the teaching. And then there's another part that comes up in the verse, which I didn't share yet. I'll share the verse now. Mumon's verse is, Gutei made a fool of old Tenyu, emancipating a boy with a single slice, just as Kore cleaved Mount Kasan to let the yellow river run through. That's the fourth part. So the fourth part has to do with, again, one, but then all the ways that we can be awakened. I'll come back to that. There's our story. That's how we start, right? I think I'm going to share a little of the history of One Finger Zen because I liked the story. And it's in all the commentaries, but I'll use this other commentary because this the translation in English is a little bit more English-like. This is the story. A long, long time ago in China, probably in the 9th century. According to the biography, young Gutei lived alone in the mountain doing zazen, and one day a nun happened by. So according to the custom in China, when two people meet, they take off their hats and exchange greetings. This nun, however, didn't take off her hat. She didn't follow the proper etiquette. So she came inside with the hat on and walked around Gutei 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and stood right in front of him and said, "If you can tell me the word that satisfies me, I will take off my head covering. I will take off my head covering." And Gutei at this time was a young monk, and his spiritual eye was unfortunately not yet open. I like the extra, the unfortunately in this commentary. Isn't unfortunate? It just is, right? So his eye was not yet open. So he was stopped. He didn't know what to say to her. He was completely dumbfounded. He couldn't say anything. So then she turned around to leave, and he called out to her, "It's getting dark. Won't you stay here and start your trip tomorrow morning?" She turned back and said again, "I'll stay here if you can give me the word." And he couldn't. And she left. Gone. So Gutei was really, he was quite young when this happened. We don't get into the gender dynamics in this male written commentary, but we can imagine how humiliating it might have been for him to be stumped by a nun. At least I can. So, and he got really sort of lost in his own shame or his own puzzlement. So he made up his mind to leave his mountain hut and visit many great Zen teachers. So he was ashamed, but it also prompted him to action. According to the legend, the night he was going to leave, he had a dream in which a foreigner told him that a great master would soon be his teacher and would come to the hut. And then what do you think happened? A few days later, Master Tenyu came. Gutei welcomed Master Tenyu with great reverence. He told Tenyu of his encounter with the nun and asked him what the fundamental word of Zen was. Tenyu, saying nothing, what do you think he did? Raised one finger. At this, Gutei was enlightened. The darkness in his mind was all dispersed, and his spiritual eye was opened. So that's what we know about him. So what do we know about ourselves? First of all, we have one. The one is not a gesture that Gutei could do for his disciple, not a gesture that Tenyu could do for Gutei. And then next, also not something that the disciple could imitate. However, if we really get the one, we know it's not about the finger, it's not the word, it's not the gesture, it's not the idea of one, it's literally that everything is one. There is no separation, that we are all one. The whole universe is one. In the whole entire universe, there's nothing left out, nothing anywhere. This is the essence of this teaching, the essential part of this first part. No one can teach you about enlightenment. No one can come to you and say, okay, you do it this way and this way. We can teach you how to walk on the path, but we can't do it for you. So no one can go into your brain and rearrange things and change your body and show you how to do everything. And I know everybody wants this. maybe not everyone, but I think it's a common, I'm only partially joking, because I think it's a common idea that if we just sit with the right teacher, if we just sit next to the right person or in the right room, then their understanding will open our understanding. A teacher can only show you the way, can only point out the map. You have to use the map yourself. And when we reach a point where we're so desperate for that map, for how to use the map, that is, there's a chance here. We all come to this point where we're trying and trying and trying and trying, and we become so frustrated. We've been practicing, we've been doing things the right way, we've been doing things in the way that the teacher taught us, we've been following the map. Sometimes we follow the map ourselves exactly as they taught us. Sometimes we're like, that stupid teacher, I'm making my own map. I'm going to do it my way. Sometimes we don't like parts of that map and like other parts of it. So we do the parts we like. And we think that the parts we don't like are stupid or mistaken. Sometimes we think our teacher is the biggest idiot in the history of the world. And other times we think that they're the only enlightened master in the whole universe. These are all normal. But eventually we're going to come to this place, the place of the boy. And this place is where we're trying and we're trying and we're trying. And rather than moving into that initial energy and great intention, things become rote for us. And we start simply going through the motions, imitating the teacher. It's not really a conscious thing. I like the way that Shibayama Roshi talks about it himself. He gives an example from his own life. And when I'm offering Teisho, it's okay to move your legs if you need to. I don't mind that. His story, this is from Shibayama Roshi, from his commentary called The Gateless Barrier. I myself have a similar story of my own training days, which of course is not comparable to that of the boy attendant. I had already spent 3 years at the monastery and was in the abyss of darkness. I did not know how to proceed, where to go, or what to do. There is an occasion in Sesshin when every monk has to go to the master's room for Doksan. So he went. I struck the bell, stepped into the master's room, feeling like a lamb dragged to a slaughterhouse. For I do they have lambs in Japan? Not so often, but that's what he says here. For I did not have anything to say. I had nothing to say. In the fix, I instantly raised my hand and exclaimed, "The truth pervades the whole universe." The master, with piercing eyes, stood up and drove me out of the Doksan room, saying, "You good-for-nothing monk, you'd better return to college." I'll never forget the pain I had at that master's rebuke. Desperation, imitation, still missing the mark. And yet, in that gap of cursing, F this, you stupid, blah, 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 there's space. I can't tell you how many people come to Sesshin at a certain point and say, I can't do this anymore. Maybe they don't say it. Maybe they show it with their body or practice. We go to a place in our practice, we've been coming for years, we've been participating for years, and we reach a point where this stupid temple, this stupid teacher, this is clearly not the place for me. I can't do this. They're clearly teaching me wrong. Everything is wrong. So, a mistake that many people do at this point is leave. This is the time to stay. This is the time to stay. It's the same kind of anywhere. You know, if you're at this place in your job, this isn't the best place to leave. The best place to leave is when everybody loves you and you're doing a great job and they're going to write you glowing recommendations. Then you get out. In the temple, this difficult place is the time to stay, to be with it. This is a time often of great opening. And this is what's really going on with the boy. He imitates his teacher. His teacher said, you know, what the heck are you doing? You've been coming here all this time. You've been practicing, and all you can do is a stupid imitation of me. It's not even a good imitation. If you're going to imitate me, do it properly. You know, really be me. Be yourself. Be your own awakening. I get the teacher's frustration here. Wake up. You can do it. I know you can do it. This point of frustration is our ego coming in and trying to claw back its territory. Me. It wouldn't fight so hard if it didn't know it was on the extinction list. It wouldn't fight so hard if we weren't in the process of letting it go. Stay. You might find that your authentic expression of the Dharma is a lot closer than you think. Today I picked up, there's a book that I really like that has exhortations on investigating Zen by Chinese Master Bolshan. And I was just looking for a book to take with me on my vacation. And this one came up and I was like, oh, I should give the talk on this one. Oh no, this one's better. Oh no, I really like this one. So I'm not going to do all that, but I'm going to share a couple of them with you. In the course of practice, never ask someone else to reveal the truth to you. If they tell you, the answer will still be theirs. Never ask someone else to reveal the truth to you. If they tell you, you'll get their answer. It'll have nothing to do with you. Like a person asking for directions to the city of Chang'an, who should only expect to be told where to find the road leading there, not about the affairs in Chang'an. Even if the affairs are completely explained to them, it will only be what the other person saw, not what the person asking for directions might see. The same is true when you don't work hard, but instead beg the answer from others. Don't beg the answer from others. You know more than you think. If you are here today, you can be assured, the Lotus Sutra tells us, your Buddha nature brought you here. You can let go into that. Use the map for sure. Don't make up your own map, but use the map follow it carefully, and use it to find your own way. For those of y'all who've been to New York City, have you ever, before you ever came to New York, what was your idea of it? You know, I'm from the South, so New York is like growing up was the scariest place on the planet. You know, people thought it was like New York. They always said it like that. You're going up there to New, and I had a cousin, Peggy, she went up there to New York and it cost her, it was like in the 70s, I guess. She had cost her $70 to get a perm in her hair. Can you believe that? Like it was a crazy place where things cost a lot. I was kind of intrigued, you know. I was like, what is that scary, crazy place? What was your idea? If you grew up in New York, what would you tell someone who was thinking of visiting? Is there any way to tell them what to do? When people ask me about traveling, I've traveled a lot. I tell them start off by just taking your agenda for the first day and ripping it up and walk around or sit in a cafe and just watch. In my New York, I think I'd tell them, I don't know, it depends on the day of the week, right? Maybe I would tell them to walk around Central Park. Maybe I would tell them to go to a particular cafe or to listen to some jazz. Maybe I would suggest a certain neighborhood that I thought is really amazing. Depends on the person too, right? No matter what I tell them though, when they come, A, they usually do something different, right? Right? Come on. I see a lot of nods here. And B, what I saw in my vision of what they were going to see is going to be totally different from what they see. This is how practice is. We can give you the way, the maps, but I can't do it for you. And if you want me to do it for you, or if you want anyone to do it for you, this is the time the teacher really has to push you back into the water. It's not a kindness to do something for someone. Well, for those of you who have children, you know this. They have to figure it out, even when it's painful for you to watch. You have to give them space to figure it out. Let's talk a little bit about lost. Lost in Japanese is often the same. It's the same word that's used for dukkha or suffering. Lost. 13. In the course of practice, it is most dire to mistake phenomena arousing out of the subconscious for Buddha activities. When such phenomena arise, you may raise your eyebrow, wink, shake your head, and turn your face and say that you've gained great spiritual powers. And if you take these phenomena arising from your subconscious as something extraordinary, then you're not even worthy of being a slave to heterodox practitioners. I love the way he talks. So if you think these states, these bliss states, these supernatural, these whatever it is, are special, he's got something to say to you about it. When practicing, it is crucial that the workings of the deluded mind be extinguished. Do not construct different ideas in your head and never try to theorize those occasions of encountered dialogues. When you penetrate the great principle thoroughly, all the various samadhis will issue forth naturally from your mind. But if you try to conceive or construct some notion of this, you will be as far apart as from heaven and earth. We'll do one more. If you cannot arouse not knowing mind, the mind of not knowing, you might start to have aversion to certain circumstances that you face, enjoying yourself only in meditating in desolate or quiet places, feeling engrossed. You might think you're progressing. And if you feel repelled when meeting active situations, then this is the arising and perishing mind, not Zen. After a long time of meditating like this, in my quiet little room all by myself, you may come to accord with the realm of serenity and quietude, becoming gloomy and unknowing, cutting off all interactions and responses. You may even achieve samadhi, fixating your mind without motion. But what would be the difference between this and the path of those following different practices? When confronting the slightest adverse situation, you don't feel at ease. When hearing sounds and seeing forms, fears arise in you. And because of this fear, you'll give unsavory forces a chance to enter. He says demonic forces, but that's hard for me to say. So we'll call them really destructive forces. Because of this fear, you'll give destructive forces a chance to enter. And when these destructive forces take hold, your actions will be unwholesome and your whole life's practice will be wasted. And all of this because in the beginning, you misused your mind. You didn't arouse not knowing. You are unwilling to see a teacher or trust others, always going about your own way, dwelling in your own special quietude. Even when you meet a virtuous friend and teacher, you still refuse to realize your mistakes. In this case, although 1,000 Buddhas may appear in this world, they will be unable to help you. So we don't mince words here. So where are we? Gutei Osho, when asked about practice, always responded, when the boy mimicked him, what does your teacher teach? It wasn't his own practice. It was an imitation of someone else, which does him not only no good, but actually goes into, if that boy goes on like this, it leads to causing harm. So if he teaches people in this way that's slightly off, or could be a lot off, then he's not helping them. We have to embody the authentic way of the ancestors. We have to embody fully our own Buddha nature, not our teacher's Buddha nature. We have to wake up completely. This is the teaching of Tenyu, the teaching of Gutei, the teaching of my teacher who passed on this koan to me. I used to have this little book when I was practicing with the koans, and I was usually, sometimes I look at it when I want to talk about one. And in this case, I can see that I very carefully like highlighted all the words I didn't know, which were a lot, because this is written in ancient Chinese, and put into Japanese. And then I looked up all the words I didn't know so I could talk about it, because how can I talk about it to my teacher if I don't know all the words? And then I would make notes on what he had to say. And what he had to say is this: understand one thing, and we'll understand all. There's only one in the entire universe. No one can teach you about your enlightenment. Your enlightenment is your enlightenment. One. And this is what he had to say about the finger. With one finger, a lot can happen. You can cut a mountain. You can push the atomic button. One past, one present, just one. No America, no Japan, one heart. Passed from Tenyu to Gutei to the boy. And if you think there's one, also cut that. Let go. Thank you.